Okay, so for this final video, what we're going to do is we're going to reverse this process, and we're going to take a graphed absolute value and try to write the equation of the absolute value. Now, one of the most important things for you to do this is to take that new equation that has the generic variables in it and recognize what's going on in the graph to plug in for that. And so the very first thing is, if we recall, the h and the k values actually represent the vertex. And so we're given a vertex here of 0 and -3. So the very first thing that I can do here is replace the h and the k. So that's x minus 0, and then k is -3 in this case. Now the last thing I got to do is I got to replace the a value. Now the a value is going to be kind of creating this slope, if you will, on the right-hand side. So whatever the slope of the line, the part of the line on the right-hand side, we can figure it out that way. Now, if we wanted, you can see here lower in the sample, we could actually plug a point in that's on the graph, and so we show you the 0.21, and we could actually back solve for the a if we wanted to go that route. But I think that you'll be able to recognize here that if I come up here and I go up 1, 2, 3, 4, and I go over 2, I kind of create this rise over run of 4 over 2, which is just simply a positive slope of 2. And so that's going to give us a 2 in front of there. Now, if you keep in mind, really the slope of each part, this a value actually represents the absolute value of that slope. So it's kind of tricky a little bit, but once you get the hang of just doing it on the right side, you'll figure out that a value real quickly. Now, we need to simplify this, and so we never need to write the 0 in our final answer, and so this would simply be our equation for this. And you can see that we eventually came to this as well down here by finding the a in a different matter. So if you like the example how they found the a, or if you like just to simply count it like its slope on the right side to find the a, either way is effective as long as you kind of understand what's being represented, and that it's not truly slope for the whole graph, it's only slope for the right-sided part of the V. So let's go on and look at a couple sample problems. You can move on down here to sample problem number 3, and we have a part A and part B. So go ahead and start with this generic equation in front of you and try to work both parts A and part B real quick. Okay, so I'm going to start off by simply plugging in my h and my k values, and here my h is a 0 and my k is a positive 2. Now in order to get my a value, I'm going to just simply count slope on the right side. So I'm going to go up 1 over 2, so that's a rise over run of 1 over 2, so that's going to give me my a value. And then to finish this, I just have to consolidate this and simplify it without the 0. And so it's just absolute value of x, and then that's plus 2. So that is the equation of this absolute value function. So let's look at part B. We have a little different story going on here in part B. Again, I'm going to start with my generic equation that represents a absolute value function. And I'm going to recognize that my h and my k is 0 and 3, so that's the first thing I'm going to plug in. So that's x minus 0. In this case, it's a positive 3. Now the difference here is I'm finding the slope, again, of the right-sided part of the graph, but this time you can see that it's already negative. So I'm actually going to go down 2 and over 1, so it's down 2 and over 1. And in that being the case, I'm actually going to get a negative 2 value for the a. And so whenever I simplify this, I simplify the 0 out of there, and I have my equation for my absolute value graph. So you can see how we've kind of reversed the process by using our absolute value equation. The only tricky part about this may be the slope or the A value and how we come up with it. And if you need some help with that, be sure to ask your teacher questions in class. That's the most important part about this process of watching videos. Be sure to ask questions in class.